Facebook, post to Twitter, and put it up on the Discord. And we are live.
You're listening to Earth's Mightiest podcast, episode 178. We are back. How is everybody doing?
BC.
You know, we're above ground, and I'm supposed to be thankful for just that. So, just one of them weeks, months, decades.
Yeah. We won't delve into details, but our boy Moriarty has got.
Bobby's going through it.
Yeah.
Send my love. Send me love if you can. Pray for me. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah, send some good vibes. Sacrifice a chicken or a goat or something.
It's all stuff that we'll look back on and laugh. But right now, it's frustrating. So,
yeah.
Woosa.
Yeah, you get a hold of a monkey's paw or something.
Oh my gosh, is that what that was? I swear.
Wait, those aren't good?
Somebody told me to put that in soup last week, and I've been drinking the bones of it ever since.
Oh no, dude, not that.
Oh, monkeys, the old monkey's paw in the soup trick.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. One thing that we should briefly cover, even though it's not Avengers related, is should we talk about Batman for a second?
Are you talking about the comic, the movie,
There's a thing on the interwebs, Bobby. You've been through some things, so you probably haven't been
maybe not
paying
quite
attention.
as up to date. Oh God.
So, you're familiar with the Harley Quinn cartoon, the animated series, correct?
Oh God.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
So there was a news story of the creator, right? Corin? The creator?
Yeah.
The creator or the writer or something like that, right? So
one of the showrunners.
Yeah, one of the showrunners. So he pretty much said that it's like, yeah, DC has actually given us free reign to do whatever we want, right? Except they had a scene where our the detective, the greatest detective, isn't a cunning linguist, if you will.
He's not.
He wouldn't like. There was a scene where he went down on Catwoman, and DC was like, no, can't do that, right? Because that's not what heroes do. Is what they said.
What?
And the internet.
I beg to differ.
Yeah, the internet has had a field day.
As you know what? As rightly they should. I gotta say. I mean,
yeah,
that's like, it's fine if they don't want that to be visualized in the book, right? Like, they really shouldn't bother giving some type of unambiguous moral clause explanation, because that's where they kind of tripped and put the shotgun in their mouth, I think.
Yes.
It was all going well right up until you guys said why,
Yeah, and there was all kind of memes, and like there were things like there were some writers that were talking about, like, his mouth is exposed for a reason. And he goes, and the bat ears are basically handlebars, y'all. So
Hold on, I think my favorite one is.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
yeah,
there's been some hilarious ones out there.
And someone brought up that I never watched the animated movie of The Killing Joke, but apparently he did that to Batgirl.
I'm
that's
not sure that that's true.
Yeah, no, it happened in the animated series. It was kind of a big uproar that happened between him and Barbara. So
they definitely bang on a rooftop. I don't remember the scene where he's going down on her. But
well,
maybe I missed it. I just maybe I rewound and paused it and masturbated to it 18 times. I can't remember, one of the two. Right? Yeah, but Cinnamon Bun is definitely onto something. And like, what does that tell you about the significant others of the folks in charge over at DC? Right? I mean, what are we trying to say here? The Bat doesn't, because that's not what heroes do. Who seriously let that get out? Like, is that like, I don't know. That seems like such a gimme to not say it that way. Like, there's someone in their marketing department needs to be fired.
Like, yeah, I think I saw someone joke around as like the quote unquote greatest detective can't find the G spot.
Greatest detective. Yeah, couldn't solve the oldest one in the book.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
Then
Corwin just sent the meme was just like, if Batman doesn't give head, then who the hell ate me out at Comic-Con 2018?
There's a whole shitload of funny comments.
I just thought we'd
it does need to be. I'm glad you brought it up, Viet. That was
and I was just like, should we wait that? But if we do it for EMBS, then there'll be a delay. So like, and I think this is a topical thing that we need to discuss at length.
It's beyond topical. I mean, I can't believe. Clearly, my attention has been elsewhere. I don't know how I missed this. Like, because this is right up my alley. You know, I mean, this.
Yeah. Good family friendly content for you.
There's another one with somebody shared it on the Facebook page, a conversation between Catwoman and Harley. check that out when you get time. It's pretty funny as well.
And there's I don't know, like there's been an ongoing meme of like Anakin talking to Padme, where he would say something and then she would just be like, but you're gonna do this, right? And then he just stares and then he's like, but you're gonna do this, right? So that's the meme. But someone photoshopped the Batman mask over him and the Catwoman. He's like, okay, so it's my turn, right? And then just the blank stare. Like, it's my turn, right?
So I'm gonna end up fact checking when on my own time, of course, but was it like where did the response come from exactly? Was this like released in an interview? Is that what happened?
I think so, yeah.
It's not like DC actually tweeted, unfortunately we can't release the sequence of, so it really was supposed to be an in-house thing. Mm-hmm. But I mean, but good on those writers for shining a light on on these darkest corners of the comic book industry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the internet has had a field day with it.
Hey, I mean, it would explain like why he hasn't been able to stick with a girl for all these years up until until like, Selena. Maybe Selena got him, turned him out. Like,
yeah, it's like I just remember going on Twitter. I'm like, Batman's trending. I'm like, huh. I'm like, what are fans mad about now? Oh, okay. I was not expecting this.
I want to know what's gonna happen when Nightwing finds out, because in the Harley Quinn movie, Nightwing definitely gets a piece of Harley.
Mm-hmm.
So rose before a hose, except after C or something. I mean, do they still say that? Like, is that too misogynistic nowadays to even say? Or is it just dating myself and that's it? I don't know. Yeah, if I was Dick Grayson, I'd be. All right, somebody give me the hook.
Anyways, unless you guys have anything else to let people fill our listeners in on what's going on, there's these things called podcast reviews. So if you are listening to this podcast and you haven't given us a review on said app that you're listening on, go ahead and do that, because good reviews and just reviews in general help people find us, and you can. It's super easy and super quick. So do us a favor, and if for some reason you want to give us some money, which why wouldn't you? We have a Patreon account. You can go to patreon.com/empcast for as little as $1 a month. You get our EMBS episodes the week of recording. Otherwise, it's available for free a month later. And there's other tiers for like some swag, like mugs, and like custom toys and sketches from our art friends and things of that nature. You can even get a sketch on your mug. That's even a possibility. We have some supporters that do that as well.
I know that there's a bunch of you out there who have been sitting pretty on some of that COVID cash, that pandemic unemployment assistance. You might not believe this, but podcasters actually don't qualify for pandemic unemployment assistance funds. So you can imagine how tough it's been over here. And just a little something, guys. I mean, it's the government gave you free money, like pay the piper. You know what I mean? Like, or else, it's otherwise it's bad luck. Monkey's paw. I actually reinstated my Facebook account specifically for the purpose of going on our forums. So the first person to give us a new review, I'll actually comment to them in a forum post and
Nice.
appear, because Lord knows we all want that.
Just curious. I haven't actually checked our iTunes, or I guess it's not iTunes anymore. But
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts. I still say iTunes. Nope, we haven't gotten a review yet. Anyways, yeah, you can support us if you can. But if you're listening to this, thanks.
Indeed. All right. Let's get the show started.
So, guys, this is Earth's Mightiest podcast. My name, as always, is Bobby Moe. With me, my fabulous and trustworthy, not to mention handsome co-hosts, Corwin the Body Kroll.
Hello, everyone.
And Viet the Brain Huynh.
What up?
We stand strong as your front line to the Avengers titles published by Marvel Comics. And we defend you from the bad books, as well as avenge the books that you may have missed.
Will be reborn and rated from a 1 to a 5, with 1 being very, very bad and 5 being very, very good. There will be spoilers. We're going to ruin everything. We're going to reborn you. So be ready for it.
Should be
starting
fun.
It now.
Yeah. I was going to say Avengers books and also assorted other more maybe timely comics, whatever's going on right now. Pretty good start. Interested. Certainly interested.
I've got to say we've had our reservations to kick off this, or the beginning of this Heroes Reborn, but I think Viet's going to take us into it first.
Yes, we are starting with Heroes Reborn #1. Written by Jason Aaron, art by Ed McGuinness, and Mark Morales, and Matthew Wilson. It's nice that they put the whole names on the cover. That's nice. And for those on the Twitch stream or anybody that wants to check the video on demand on my Twitch stream or that watch us on YouTube, I found a way to share my screen for the issues, so we can kind of go through the issues that way. If you want to watch us in video form. But anyways, so yeah, we have Heroes Reborn #1, and we start off with we see Robbie Rodriguez just riding a bicycle because he's late for work, and we see Blade. Blade seems to be like, he seems to be like knowing what's going on. Like there's something wrong with this world. So you're kind of getting filled in on everything. Phil Coulson is the president. The Squadron Supreme is our I guess the Avengers. The Avengers aren't a thing.
Are they the Avengers?
Well, I mean, they're basic. They're
the Justice League?
Yeah, they're
America's premier team.
Yeah, America's heroes, and like Tony Stark is still selling weapons. Captain America is still in a block of ice. Like so this is basically a world without the Avengers, right? And like we can delve into all the details, but that's pretty much set. Where like
hey, where is Dr. Juggernaut? You didn't talk about Dr. Juggernaut.
I know. We can talk about that later.
He's synopsis first, and then we'll break down the cool,
the best part of this.
Alternate beasts.
I know.
Was cool.
But yeah, so this is the world, and then so Blade is trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And we do have Thor, who's not worthy and just getting drunk.
Bro, he doesn't even know he's a god.
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean,
yeah. And then we show up. Yeah, and then what Corin specified, Doctor Doom shows up because the surprise, the U.S. meddled in an election. And Doctor Doom lost, and he's mad, and he comes in as Dr. Juggernaut because he has a Jewel of Sidorak or Gem of Sidorak, and I was just like, Doom or not, come on, Doom or not, Dr. Doom or not,
that's Doom or not,
yeah,
a lot to say.
But yeah.
What about Jugavon?
Yeah. And then then we have we even see Thanos and the Infinity Rings.
The 10 the 10 Infinity Rings probably.
But yeah.
How about Venom with
Red Skull Venom? Or
well, did you realize he's got Miguel's costume on? I forget Miguel's last name. Miguel O'Hara's costume. Spider-Man 2099. I thought that was a pretty cool touch.
You've got the Silver Witch. So
Silver Witch.
So Scarlet Witch ended up getting Pietro's powers after he died. So she has super speed as well as her hex.
Yeah. Super speed hexing.
Silver Witch. Somebody else with seemingly infinity related power. I'm not sure who they are based on. I mean, like the role they're specifically playing, I think, is meant to represent a Green Lantern, but yeah.
Dr. Spectrum.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like, Viet, I'm sorry, Viet, are you still synopsizing?
No.
Yeah. All right. I just want to say then that although I know this story has been to some degree, maybe several degrees, it's been told before. I just like how they're playing this. And it looks pretty good, and I like the feel of the mystery. Blade seemingly alone in his remembering the old universe. I know that's like a MacGuffin they've played on before, like with Age of Apocalypse. I forget who it was that could remember, but somebody could. It's always somebody kind of like down on the B to maybe C plus on the hero list. Like
that was Bishop.
It was Bishop. It was Bishop.
Yeah, he remembered everything.
Blame it on the black guy. It looks really good. They, I think having read the Hyperion issue, like about his old team, feels like his role is going to be interesting in this. And for those who aren't following along at home, they're definitely leaning into this is what the Marvel universe would look like under the DC lens, I guess, the DC universe lens. They don't really come out and say that, but they definitely Hyperion is definitely Superman. Go ahead, Corin. You got some scoop on that?
Oh well, I mean they've always been based off the Justice League. So.
Yeah, right. But I knew they were, but I didn't. Although like I was kind of racking my brain trying to remember. I know that they showed up not that long ago. What is it? Secret Wars? That they were? I guess they were a part of Secret Wars, but then, I mean, Squadron Supreme, right? Like
they were. We don't know how Coulson came back. Well, we know how Coulson came back, but we don't know how he got them. So that's kind of been a mystery where they came from.
Right.
Since Secret Wars. So that hasn't been revealed.
Yeah, but like, what's it called? All new, but even back with like original Sin, like Squadron Supreme was a thing back,
right?
Even back then.
Hyperion was around. Was all of them around then though?
No. But I mean, like, Squadron Supreme became a team. I mean, like, Hyperion was back with Hickman's Avengers.
Right.
Yeah, because remember when like there was a not Nightwing. What's his name? Like the Batman character. We had a book about him for a while. Remember? Or he was like
was it
Nighthawk?
Nighthawk.
It does not, for some reason, roll off the tongue, does it? Like
there is one in the 616, but he is different.
Mm-hmm.
Was one before, but yeah, there was Nighthawk from. He come from. Yeah, he came from. Did he come from Secret Wars?
I think he did. My point is just that they have dabbled with this for really the better part of the last 10 years. The Squadron Supreme has like been referenced or shown up for a little while, whether it be for an event or whatever. I'm curious to see like front and center in a major Marvel, what do we call this? A major Marvel story, like the summer crossover issues, I guess. What do we call event? That's the word I wanted. Me Hulk, no, have word. I'd be curious how they do.
By the time we finish with these first 4 books, I want you guys to tell me who your favorite Squadron member is. I know we're not going to really get through all of them in these first 4 issues, but by the time we finish this episode, I want to know who do you guys favor the most.
Fair enough. Oh, but also that Hulk was like supposed to be kind of like Bizarro. Did you catch that?
We haven't gotten there.
Say that again.
Oh, right. Hulk doesn't really show up to the next issue. Sorry.
And but man, like Ed McGuinness is making it blatantly obvious that Phil Coulson is not a good person.
Looks like
that one of the last few panels, like right where he's just like he's looking.
He looks possessed.
Yeah, he like he was just like, and then the whole time I'm just like Mephisto. Maybe
He's
possibly.
He's also a dead ringer for Norman Osborn, like.
Right.
Nah, he doesn't have the hair. But you gotta have that.
In Ed McGuinness's art, I think he kind of is like that right in that panel. It's the one where he's like basically doing like the steeple fingers.
Yeah, exactly. He's like excellent.
Like that smile on his face, kind of. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to find it, but I know that he doesn't look like. Anyways, moving on.
All right, but yeah, this was pleasantly pretty good
for something like completely not asked for, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
For the story nobody wanted, actually somewhat palatable. That will be the headline.
Yeah, and for some reason I just thought that they were just going to just like take a break and they're just gonna do this alternate storyline, right? And so, and being being big X-Men fans that we are, and knowing about the age of fill in the blank, we know about like we're heavy on the alternate realities kind of thing. Yeah, it's not really anything groundbreaking or anything like new. This was still well executed.
Agreed.
Right, and that's I suppose like for the veterans in the room, that's really gonna be what it comes down to. Like in this day and age, a lot of the time, I think there's the ongoing sort of outcry that you guys you reuse everything and rehash it, and this is boring and kind of like bland or for kids. And I think people forget sometimes that like target audience may not be your in your wheelhouse, maybe not even of your generation. Like I mean, so I'm told we're like the outliers. That I know that things are really changing and that a lot of the comic book audience is has grown up and stuck with it this generation, but that didn't used to be the case, right? And so the fact that certain ideas kind of get played out every few years, in a lot of ways you can't fault them for it, because they probably got away with it for decades when their readership just kind of graduated every 5 or 6 years and kind of put the books down, right? Like you can see how it would happen. And so coming down to like having really good art, having it be from a perspective that is intriguing, and having some really good combos of like alt characters, that's going to be the details that where the proof is when eating.
And I do wonder, I guess, where this takes place in the current, like in our real storyline, because where we last left off was Blade was the sheriff of Chernobyl.
Like in the timeline, you mean?
Yeah, in like that's where we left off in last month's books, right? And then so he's like the sheriff of Chernobyl, and and then what also makes it interesting is, I mean, well, I guess not really interesting, but like just because Steve Rogers never came about, like there were no Avengers, right?
It is interesting. Yeah. What Blade literally says at the end is that, right, that it seems to all stem from this one thing happening that changed everything. And he says like that because of Steve there was no Avengers. But I'm hoping anyways that the route they're going to take is it's more than just because of that the Avengers didn't happen. It's because without Steve, somehow he is like, maybe the aura of the Marvel universe in some way. And so without Captain America, essentially the Marvel universe didn't happen. Not just the Avengers didn't form, right? Like, it wasn't just a matter of being cause and effect. I think it's more than that.
Yeah, and even like, and Captain Marvel never became a
Right.
thing. Carol Danvers is just an Air Force pilot.
All right, my internet dropped out for a second, so the recording may have missed a little bit.
I thought I was really eloquent there too,
It's all right. It's got a backup. We should be able to do something with it.
But my last point though is that Viet, sometimes I forget for a while, but you've been kind of steady keeping with it, and I think you probably are right that ultimately there's going to be a wild-eyed, wild-haired red demon steeple fingering somewhere in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
like after this issue, we'll answer the question later in the episode, but I'm just like, yo, like that's Mephisto. I just said like Phil Coulson's Mephisto. That was my prediction. We'll see if I'm right.
Wait, did we see him with who did we see with the dog in the flashback? That was Stark. That was somebody else.
That was the gorilla dude.
No. The Mephisto. Never mind. I might be saying too much. I'll backtrack and check on it. But
right. But yeah. Throw out your grades, and we'll move on.
I'm going to give this 4 Dr. Juggernauts.
Yeah. I'll give it 4 ghost bicycle riders.
Yeah, I'll give it 4. Let's see, 4 silver witches.
I'm glad we can all agree that this definitely has been a fun ride so far.
Yeah, and especially after the whole Phoenix, the letdown of how bad the Phoenix stuff was. And even then, even this is like yet another tangent to the storyline. But this one's
maybe.
Actually,
I mean,
right? Maybe not.
He
right?
might bring it all together.
Right. Well, I guess we'll find out when we get to issue number 2.
And that would be me, your boy Bobby Moe over here in the place to be. Ow. So Heroes Reborn issue 2 is written by somebody whose name is on the cover, and I didn't pull it up yet. And
Jason
it is
Aaron.
Written by Jason Aaron. That's what I said, Corwin. Jeez. Penciled by Ed McGuinness. Penciled mightily. Whew. Really.
Dale Keown.
Like by Dale Keown. That's what I said, Corwin.
Yeah. Dale Keown, Scott Hanna, and Edgar Delgado.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to pull it up here.
But Ed McGuinness did do a backup story.
And we start off. Oh yeah. So give me 1 second here. My computer's frozen. What happens on the first page?
It's Hyperion checking somebody's work.
Oh yeah, he's in school because his secret identity is a teacher. This issue is entitled "Invaders from the Negative Zone." So he's in school and he's reading somebody's homework. It's a paper about Captain America entitled "Whatever Happened to Captain America," and it's interesting because basically this is some type of foreshadowing. Because he's reading off the end of her paper. In conclusion, we may never know the answer to the greatest mystery of World War II. And then he says to himself, kind of, learn to separate real American history, Margaret. And she gets a C+, by the way, so she apparently doesn't have any idea as much as Hyperion does. He then overhears something on the emergency scanners. It is a Reed Richards calling him because there's a big problem, and it's that the prison that they've been using for supervillains, the Negative Zone, has had a jailbreak. Like Reed has been warning him for years and years and years. And Reed's lab assistant, Ben, who is very much not unthinged, kind of butts in, and Reed's like, can you keep it down, Ben? The adults are talking. He doesn't say that exactly, but Ben seems to be not as important as he would be if he was made of rock. So, Hyperion, immediately we see a lot of battles like across the world as all these different, many of them brood infested, as we will learn about in the last issue of Hyperion and the Imperial Guard. But he's fighting off Gladiator, who's brood infected. He then he has a run-in with the Beyonder, who sends some flying sharks to attack and stuff. Oh, and then finally Hyperion has to rescue his buddy, the journalist Peter Parker. And so, through this is like kind of like through this exposition, we're really kind of getting the feel for how this Marvel universe is way off. But I also kind of like find it interesting on how, like, we always kind of like talk about these alternate universes and how different they are, but it's kind of crazy how much they kind of seem to want to go to normality too, right? Because the characters still often arrive to play a role in whatever, or they're still super villains even though they're not the exact same super villain or that kind of thing. One of his last encounters is with the giant, what do they call it? The man called, it's Ultron, but he talks about how this Ultron is basically his friend Henry Pym, who his experiments literally consumed him. Something about using Pym particles to rebuild his heart. Hyperion just trash compacts him into a metal ball. Pretty rough. So, and we're also seeing how tough Hyperion is, right? Like, he gives no Fs because nobody's effing with him. On his return to school, Fukushima High School, somebody's filling in, substituting in his class, and it's Hulk, who is not Joe Fixit style. He's talking like a Hulk would talk, but also backwards. Like, everything he says is not true, and like the wrong way. So the first thing he says is, history is no lie. And I guess we're supposed to take from that the history books, we're getting some more hints that the history that seems to be in place of this world isn't correct. Hyperion can't figure out really why Hulk's there, but he knows that he doesn't want around those kids, so he busts him in the chops. Hulk fights back for a while, but Hyperion ends up killing him. Kind of vicious.
Over a dozen times before he stays dead. That was kind of...
And there's also this kind of interesting sequence here where when he decides that Banner's gone too, because Banner is actually kind of beating him towards the end. it looks like he's kind of choking him out. But Hyperion says out loud, "I hereby invoke Executive Order 66." Something from the SSA, which is in the real Marvel universe was the original designation for S.H.I.E.L.D., I think. And then which I guess is his, lawfully being able to use lethal force. And yeah, it terminates the Hulk with heat vision. It's ugly. Pretty ugly. And he says the last thing he could hear the Hulk whisper is, "Where's Steve?" So
yeah, so Hulk was in on it too with Blade.
Hulk remembered something.
Yeah.
Hyperion goes back to class, but he's kind of feeling that he's starting to feel something's off. He goes to meditate in the sun. And he's kind of feeling like that this world is everything he could ever dream for it to be, but and even that if it was somehow alive for whatever reason, he would still fight like hell to keep it exactly the way it is, which is one of those sort of famous last words types of sentiments that we've seen in other places. So in the epilogue, somebody's sitting outside his classroom window listening to him teach, quote unquote, history. So he goes out to see who this guy is in Hyperion costume. That's probably important that he does have a secret identity. And there's this bum here listening to him who's talking about all the stuff he's also missed out on. Hyperion can't shake the feeling that he knows him, and he also can't seem to scan him properly. It's Steve Rogers, most definitely. And his belt buckle says ABA. Steve disappears, and we see that Blade has, in fact, pulled him out of the ice, and he's convinced him that something is rotten up here in Denmark. So, that.
I will say I like how the one-shots kind of fit in between the issues, where they give you a little bit of backstory, and then that backstory is followed up upon, in the next main series issue. That was a really good way they planned it out.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to these like stories that just have nothing to do. Like, I get it why that was an attractive idea at some point to try and like fill in gaps that were like completely not talked about, like to do this sort of exercise, like what else would be affected by the goings on of whatever this major Marvel event is, right? People maybe come up with these other ideas and work them into the storyline, but I'd much rather it be like, all right, there's something that kind of definitely it was something major that happened, but they just don't have time to tell it in this main story arc. Let's see it in some of the one shots. That's much better, in my opinion.
And none of you guys mentioned Galactus. Where Galactus and Silver Surfer show up, and Hyperion just blasts through his face, like through his head, and there's the end of that. You're just like, oh, okay.
Right.
I was like, that's a pretty strong opening there, and you're like, I'm just like, okay, Jason Aaron, you got me to care about Hyperion.
Galactus killed his home planet, so
pretty good way to do it.
This was his revenge.
Right.
I know it's in the one shots this month, but the last issue of Hyperion and the Imperial Guard. Did you guys read it?
Yeah.
We'll get to that when we get to the quick hits.
Sure.
No, I thought this was solid. we get a day in the life of Hyperion, and Jason Aaron played with some fun ideas of how he had to take down the Hulk and all these other enemies, and how just vicious he can be when he's fighting. I do love the fact how nice he was when he's talking to Steve, like sir. It was kind of a nice little conversation they had there. That was cool.
I don't know how much of this is meant to be like directly jabbing at DC and or Superman, but I do think it is an indictment of like a couple things, right? Like one is it's like Superman is far too powerful and far too sort of like independent of a of a force to just let him kind of like the fact that he just does whatever the F he wants in the DC universe is kind of problematic. Like even though in the last few years it sort of seems like in the movies particularly they've like really beaten that idea over the head. It actually, it's like what General Ross says to Tony Stark at one point when he's like, wear a banner in Thor right now. You can bet if I lost a couple of megaton nukes, like people would want me to answer for that. And like Hyperion is clearly like, yeah, vicious is. It's not really so much that he's vicious. He's just cold as ice. Like he's just he's robotic. I don't know. I would be curious. I'm not sure what happened after the last issue of his series and between that time and how he got here, but I don't know. That seems like it's important information too.
Well, yeah. Just for some background, the Squadron Sinister were the first appearance, which of course was the evil version of the Justice League in Avengers 69.
Nice.
And then the Squadron
was Batman
Supreme,
in that one?
Obviously
Supreme not. First appeared in Avengers 85 in February 71. So this team it's pretty old. Before that was Roy Thomas. Wait,
wow.
But then they had their own 12-issue limited series by Mark Grunwald in 85, which I think was when they really became the popular group that
They've
we
been
know.
doing it for. I had no idea that they had that much history.
I knew it was the 80s, but I couldn't tell if it was their first appearance, so I looked it up because Grunwald is the most famous one. His group, but they came before that, before his series.
Man. Steve Rogers also, for the record, looks to be not fucking around.
Yeah, I thought it was Thor for a second because he was kind of drawn similarly.
Well, especially before he takes off his hood, it definitely he's got a full beard and maybe which is important.
And the fact that he's strong enough to hurt Hyperion in it with the handshake. So I just that's Thor. But then when they expose that it's Captain America, you're like, oh, he's out of the ice.
So here's a cool.
I'm sorry. It's at here. It's right after the page when Hyperion comes back from the sun. That's when Ed McGuinness started. I didn't realize the second story was that's why I actually thought it was Ed McGuinness, because I was thinking about this art of Cap and Blade when I said that.
So
that's actually the second. Sorry, go ahead. Yep.
It's okay. Here's a cool story about Mark Grunwald. Part of his will, or when he died, is he wanted to live on in his work. So they actually spread his ashes into the ink.
Yeah,
I've heard that. Paperbacks.
I've heard about that happening. I did not know. I wonder if he's the first one or if it had been done before. That's a little bit kind of macabre for my tastes, but
I think it's awesome.
it's a little, yeah. I mean, it's not macabre. It's fine. It's just, it's outside the box.
Indeed.
So can someone get like a DNA test of like their of their books to see if they
Well, if
have,
you're gonna
if you have
CGC it, you
yeah,
know, you
if
really
you
gotta
have the
have a DNA
select
test.
you have the select run with Grunwald ashes.
I don't know if there's any DNA left after that kind of cremation, but yeah. All right. So, anything else before throw this grade out?
Yeah. What are we? What do we think about Blade's role? Like,
He's the.
I don't know. It's just, it's a weird. He's being drawn a little bit weird, right? Like, I guess if I was gonna like make any type of Matrix style like assumptions based on his look, right? Like his sunglasses are bad guy sunglasses. But I don't know.
Kind of shaftish, but hey.
Yeah. Or Lawrence Fishburne, if you want to go with the
What
Matrix reference.
what about like why he's aware? Like,
Yeah, that's the thing we don't know.
Any theories?
Maybe they'll explain it, but if it's Mephisto, I don't know.
Well, and there's also no vampires in this world. I forgot to mention that in the first issue.
And Blade mentions that he's not sure what's more, makes him more worried: the fact that there's no Avengers, or the fact that this world seems to be better off because of it. A lot of things through the macro lens seem to be going really well. I would argue that the fact that Tony Stark is still a weapons dealer and an alcoholic is kind of like your first clue that maybe not everything at first glance is not what you would think it is. And one last Tony Stark comment, as Cap is sort of saying to Blade that we're gonna have to blow the top off this one. He's facing out into the street, looking across at Tony Stark's House of Bullets, your friendly neighborhood gun bar. The address of said establishment being 616.
Mm-hmm.
And it also says he was shot while you shoot some. I thought it was said shoot someone at first.
Yeah. Yeah, and Blade does seem to have some new powers here.
Yeah, right. Like this little fly.
Yeah, he's got like Dracula
right.
Powers.
He's got Dracula bat syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
All right, so I'm going to give this 3.5 sunbats.
Yeah, I mean, like, this gets four more issues like this, please. Like, again, for something that I just never would have asked for, I'm a lot more intrigued than I expected.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 flying sharks.
All right,
Jeff, where's Jeff?
Issue 3, written by Jason Aaron with art by Federico Vincentini, Matt Miller on colors, and the second story by Jason Aaron, Ed McGuinness, Mark Morales on inks, and Matthew Wilson on colors. And this whole issue is just about the speedster known as Blur. We do get another day in the life of, and it's just so cool how Jason Aaron really thought out the life of this character. I mean, it starts with him literally watching like 12 TVs and talking about how he's watching these TVs and playing games on his phone and texting 14 women at once, and he's got 5 days on 3 different continents, and he posts 500 selfies a day. It's just, he really put some thought into the life of a speedster, and then of course all the fights he gets
Let me
into,
count them real quick. 48.
and then how he literally runs through dimensions, and a bit of a magic tilt to his powers, and of course, what is it, Silver Witch?
Yep.
Is still trying to kill him, and at one point even captures his soul. But I love the fact that his life moves so fast that at times he forgets things because it's been forever since he's had the thought. So like you said, sometimes he has to recount things to remember how many.
That's interesting.
But then he goes on this whole, he lost his soul and the Silver Witch is escaping with it. So then he has to go back to the old lessons of his master, I guess you can say, where he has to literally slow down to figure things out and to see things. And then they kind of do this third eye opening thing like Doctor Strange, where he can see the world that most people can't see, kind of like the magic in the world, which I thought was a pretty fantastic thing that Jason Aaron brought out. And it actually helped him win the day. And of course, we get some little backstories. We see him fighting against the what is it, Ghost Racer?
Yep.
What do they call Ghost Rider here?
Is he Ghost Runner? That's
Ghost
what
Runner, yeah.
I'm assuming. I just
Ghost,
made that up.
Ghost Spike Rider.
So it was just a really, really fun day in the life of. I really enjoyed this issue.
It is Ghost Runner, and they're it's a race up the Penance stairs.
And he trained in Tibet at the mystical monastery of Homar Taj. Is that where Doctor Strange maybe studied?
That's where Iron Fist studied.
Or Iron?
No, that's
Kunlun.
Yeah, that's Kunlun.
This is something else. But his master made him basically sit there and stare at a flower until he can see, and he had to sit still for 17 days to see what the flower had to show him.
Oh, we're talking about Blair.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just fun. Just really fun. The art was great. Bit scratchier than what I'm used to, but they still just, they brought it on this.
Yeah. And I do like the no more speed. For a little bit, we're just like, oh my god, this is what we have to deal with. And then we do get a little hint of Echo with her with her
glowing eyes.
Yeah, their glowing eyes. So the Phoenix Echo is still here.
Yeah, so he captures the Silver Witch and brings her to Ravencross Asylum, where we do see Echo is in there as well in prison. Then we have he does. Who does he raise? Is that Eternity at the end?
Yeah, that's Eternity. Yeah.
Good touch. And then the backup story is once again Ravencroft, and we have Bullseye in there picking on some other prisoners until he's set on fire by a rat, and then we realize that
Phoenix
Echo
rat
is there. Yep, Echo is there, and eventually Blade finds her and recruits her. So they're basically putting together a team, as he says.
Are they assembling?
Yeah. This was just fun for me.
Agreed.
Yeah, this one's, it's fun. The whole thing's fun. This is sort of like what usually happens at issue 3, right? We get a tangential storyline, less advanced than perhaps someone with adult attention deficit disorder might like.
Yeah. Good on you, Jason, Aaron, for getting me to actually care about Squadron Supreme.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right? Like, cause I know for a fact that This podcast has historically much maligned the existence of said squadron altogether, right? Like, we've definitely been at certain points like, ugh, anything but this again.
I also think
it's just rock and roll. It's just good times.
I also think it's the fact that he just throws facts out there of history that you're just like, oh, okay. At one point, he's racing through Grizzly City, which of course is a play on Flash and Gorilla Grodd in the Gorilla City.
Right.
There is comments about.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, we're getting some Demon Bear in this. I don't like, but no, it's Ursa Major.
He once raced from one end of the multiverse to the other against Death in her ring-powered Infinity Chopper, which is a dig at Thanos and his Thanos copter when he first appeared in Iron Man. I outran an army of marauding microscopic Ultrons through Hyperion's lower intestines.
Mm-hmm.
I even raced through time itself to stop Doom 2099 and his super spiky time sled from mucking around with American history. Of course, the Ghost Runner. So yeah, those little fun things that he puts in there is just what really brought it for me on this.
Agreed.
Yeah, Jason Aaron does his homework, right? Like,
I wouldn't even say homework. He just kind of he stuffs it. He gives you.
He builds it out.
Plenty.
There's world building, right? It doesn't feel like the camera's got a nice wide angle lens, which definitely starts to make up for any of those feelings of like who asked for any of that. I feel like I gotta stop beating that horse. It's not about whether or not we asked for it. I don't think they asked me about the last event either, but this did seem a little strange at first, just conceptually. Although I was trying to remember, because the Heroes Reborn moniker itself, wasn't that what they used when, like, they like brought Rob Liefeld back for a little bit
Yes, so after Onslaught, all the regular Marvel heroes were supposedly dead and killed in the regular Marvel universe, and they basically rebooted all the titles, all the Avengers titles, and bringing all the old, basically licensing the image creators to do it. So you had Jim Lee on books, you had Rob Liefeld.
Right.
They brought all these image creators kind of back to Marvel to do their own little thing, while the X-Men basically had the Marvel universe to themselves.
Wow, I've never read Onslaught. That sounds hella cool.
It kind of was, and then that's of course in their absence when we got the Thunderbolts first made their appearance as well.
It just hit me that Blade's costume is the Red Cross.
It's like, instead of what?
Like, as in he's, I guess blood donation and and drinking blood and stuff. I don't know. It like, as in like the American Red Cross type of
right
stuff.
I was trying to figure out what hero he was like being cross-referenced with, like. But I think you're right. They're just having fun with donations accepted. Where were you going to drop that blood off? I'll take it for you.
Yeah.
No, it's no problem. I was going there anyway.
Yeah, just popping a straw in like a Capri Sun.
All right, so I'm going to give this 4.5 power naps. Power naps in the 33rd century.
Nice.
Ooh,
4.5. That's pretty good.
This is my little tiny step down to 3.5 cosmic treadmills, even though there isn't one in this episode.
Yeah, I gave it 4. 4 Phoenix Rats.
All right, Take us to the final issue this month.
Take us to the issue.
All right. So we have uh Heroes Reborn number 4. Written by Jason Aaron and art by James Stocco.
Woo!
So yeah, we start off with a bunch of like a coalition of aliens and stuff getting a escape from New York looking rocket raccoon with a Groot gun. And we see the person that hired, he's like a bounty hunter for hire, and he gets hired by the Watcher, who has no eyes, so he can't watch anything. And so
that's the listener.
yeah, pretty much now. And he's what is it, Dr. Spectrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is the spotlight on Dr. Spectrum, and he is just making way through all of the quote unquote cosmic badasses that we're normally seeing, and like he takes out Thanos with ease, throws him into nowhere, which is now a space prison. And
from a celestial head that he killed.
Yeah, from the celestial head. Yeah, exactly. Like these, he might be more powerful than Hyperion, to be honest. So yeah, then there's a battle between Rocket versus Doc Spectrum. There's some cool aspects about Groot and things like that, and then we see that Rocket has the Star Brand power, and you think that, like that it's going well, but he also, I guess Doc Spectrum has some some evil universe, like the Cancerverse, like just in his pocket. And he yeah and then we also get some ties with the baby Star Brand. We're getting reference to the baby Star Brand that's grown up, like a little
boom,
yeah.
branded you.
Yeah. So yeah, we get the Star Brand, and then we also see a meeting over in Washington D.C. in a church, where Phil Coulson is talking to Doc Spectrum, and then we see them giving the offering to the church like normal. But if you notice close to that $10 bill, it says, "In Mephisto we trust." What? And then you get to the last page, and this is no regular church with a cross. They look up, and it is all Mephistoed up. Like full on Mephisto with with
snakes for hair.
Yeah, snakes for hair. So you're just like,
that's some.
Oh.
Is that a JoJo reference?
Probably. The snakes are also hair. If you were a Patreon subscriber, you already know that joke. But yeah, so and then on the backup story, we get more, we learn more about baby Starbrand and how she was rescued by Groot and Rocket
as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's a toddler Starbrand.
Yeah.
She's pissed because Rocket's dead.
Yes.
So one cool thing, Dr. Spectrum during this issue, he was interrogating Ego. Ego told him about the Wakandans, which is something he doesn't know exists or doesn't believe exists. And at the end of the issue here, who finds Starbrand but the Captain Aoki and the Wakandan Space Command.
Wakandan Space Command.
So she's been recruited. They're still assembling the team. The James Stokoe art is just, or Stokey, I don't know how to say it.
Very spooky.
Very indie-ish, but I love it. It's just very highly detailed and just weird, and it's great stuff.
It's a perfect way to say it. It's very indie, but it totally sits right in the mix. Like, no, it's not something that takes you out of it, and rather kind of like takes you deeper into it. Is that a blackbird?
I haven't been keeping up with Black Panther, so I can't tell you what their spaceships look like.
I mean, it looks like classically like an X-Men plane. Is what I was referencing, right? Like, although the Star Panther. It also kind of has a little bit of a look like Lilindra and like Deathbird and stuff with those metal feather stuffs detailed at the end of the ship. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. This issue really, I mean, so they last issue I was like, maybe they didn't advance the story too much. Well, Viet, I guess I owe you that. Oh, we didn't make a bet, huh? You should have, because there's your boy.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, snakes for hairs.
Mephisto.
Old snakes for hairs himself.
Yep.
That
sort of been, that was the ongoing joke during WandaVision too, where like everything was just like, that's Mephisto. That's Mephisto. Well, Mephisto.
Now, I mean, but and that's not like, I guess what I'm sort of intrigued about is I thought the Mephisto thing was maybe contained to the Avengers as a major issue, but I guess it's not. It's a not, as Borat would say. I can't keep track. I know that we've been seeing. Well, I guess we had Mephisto in the Champions.
Yep.
Right. So already,
he's been puppeteering for a good 2 years at least.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like maybe worth trying to check them off if we could, but since I can't think of them, I'm probably not a good candidate for that. I know that he's shown up, I just can't remember all the places.
Yeah.
All right. So that covers the main books of the month, and it's definitely a bigger month than usual.
You gonna throw out your grade?
Oh, graded. That's right. Let's see. I am going to give this a solid 4 Altars of Mephisto.
Yeah, this is definitely gets 4 space sneakers on a Baby Star brand.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 snakes that are also hair. The snake is hair.
All right, so now that covers all the main books. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Heroes Reborn one-shots, as well as some other books. We could probably just talk about 3 so we don't run too long.
I didn't read them all. I think I only read 2. I read Hyperion and the Imperial Squad.
I actually only read that, so maybe that I could do that one.
All right, Bobby.
Well, we're just gonna. Well, these are quick hits, so we can just kind of talk about.
Cool.
Well, as Bobby mentioned before, this is pretty much just the backstory of the brooded up Imperial Guard.
Yeah, and we're meant to understand this as the final issue, like, and up to and including like a farewell letter at the end, with a letters page too. So we get some insight into how this series went. It had quite a run apparently. Um, and apparently nobody wanted to see this last issue after the events that seemed to be the end of the story in the one before. But I'll tell you what, basically, um, Hyperion is a broken man. uh, he seems to have been part of the Imperial, guard. I don't know. Do they call them all magisters, or is that not what he was on? Gladiator's team.
He trained with them, yeah.
Hyperion was trained with them, so I think it's sort of like that's his like Superman backstory. Like he grew up out here in space, and those are his.
Which is ironic if you think about it, because the Imperial Guard is also an analog of the Justice League.
I actually didn't know that or had not. But anyways, so they're like kind of having a party to celebrate his sending off because he's going to Earth for some reason. And he's like about to like make out with his girlfriend, and then all his buddies show up to have a drinking party. But then they instead get the news that they have to go see what their greatest nemesis, who they put down the issue before, Deathbird, the Empress of the Shi'ar Empire, had some stash of weapons, and so they go check out this spot, which is in again the negative zone here, standing in, I think, for the Phantom Zone in a way also.
But yeah, we don't need to go into.
I know.
I'm just do synopses.
I'm not. I want. I think this is important to like paint this picture. So they find the Brood, and this instead of having like a going away party and just being sort of like sad because he left all his homies behind, which is what I was sure I was going to be reading and couldn't figure out how that was going to be interesting. Everybody dies,
and the girl he fell in love with,
including his girlfriend. And not only does everybody die, but he's forced to essentially like pull the trigger to put them all down to keep the Brood from escaping. And boy, that looks like it sucks.
Yeah.
I was really like this issue really this got a hold of me.
I love the title page. It's issue 121. But the creative team is Ryan Cady, who's somebody I haven't quite heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Bandini on pencils. Elisabetta D'Amico, and Michelle Bandini's on inks. Eric Arciniega on colors.
Yeah. And then even the Starjammers
backup story.
Story was great.
Definitely great. Loved it. I was gonna mention that.
And I was like, I pretty much when I see an event, I don't choose to pick the tie-ins. And I was like, damn it, this is good. I have to go find back issues of this.
But it's Ryan Cady again on the backup, and artist Stephen Byrne, and I love his stuff. I think he probably does everything himself, inks, colors, and everything, but just his art is just so smooth, and the colors are just beautiful. Love this art on the backup story especially.
Yeah, and then like just like little touches like Cyclops doesn't need the visor because he never got the concussion from the plane crash, right? From jumping out of a plane because he's with Corsair.
Yeah, or the guilt, or the need to repress his powers.
Right.
Cyclops doesn't need a visor because he never got a concussion.
Or he never.
Well,
yeah.
I love in Astonishing they kind of reveal that
does he have no powers?
He has a mental. No, he has it.
But he has control of it over it.
He has control of it. In Whedon's Astonishing X-Men, you kind of learn that it's a mental thing with him, that he's mentally doing this to himself. He can't control it.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
But yeah, and then now he's part of the Starjammers. I guess Raza, who are like Raza and Chad, I think.
Chad, yeah.
Are the ones that are and then like Rocket and Groot are in this group.
Oh yeah. I actually didn't read the backup story. Is Quill on the Starjammer or
no?
Or is it just Rocket and
Groot? Corsair? Yeah.
And Corsair, but yeah.
Yeah.
I love that it ends with "to be continued" in Starjammers #1 in stores June 1992.
Yeah.
That's a great touch.
Well, and that's kind of, I mean, is that a tell? Like, I was under the impression that we were in current. Oh, I guess maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't matter though. Yeah, it's like it's a the Avenger. I mean the Heroes Reborn story still takes place now, but this doesn't.
Fake history. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll definitely say pick this book up. It's a definite fun read.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, Viet, what's the other one you got?
The other one I read was Magneto and the Mutant Force.
Tell me about it without giving a synopsis, please.
But yeah, this is basically where we're finding out more of the mutant side of things and how like they basically got their asses beat by the Squadron Supreme. And like Magneto is the head because Professor X got sliced.
I was gonna say Dunzini.
Yeah, and then all of like I guess they were thinking that Professor X like saved himself by having his consciousness in Magneto, and then when they go and find out that it's not Professor X and it's Cassandra Nova. You're just like, oh man.
So we've got Steve Orlando writing, Bernard Chang on art, David Curiel on colors. If you're an X-Men fan, this is probably one of the books that you should probably
read.
Right. As an X-Men fan, you found it to be satisfying?
Yes,
most definitely. Well filled in.
Yes.
I did see some art on one of the pages in the back of the books, anyways, for the quick early sketches for Final Force, Wolverine's team.
We'll get to that next month when we cover the books. But yeah,
looks like there's some stuff going on with the mutants.
All right, let me see what I would like to touch on then. Since oh shoot
is right.
We skipped Champions.
We did skip Champions.
Oh shoot!
Well, let's stay at Heroes Reborn real quick, and I'll just talk real quick about.
I wasn't sure if you were like I was gonna say something. I was just like but I figured you were wanting to just stick with the Heroes Reborn.
Yeah, let's call it a Heroes Reborn thing. I'll do it. I just
we'll briefly talk about it like it's a quick hit. I think it's
hit.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me just then talk about kind of back and forth between Peter Parker and Siege Society, but let me go with Siege Society just because it is a much more robust book about basically Zemo's kind of anti-Squadron Supreme team. As much as he's a villain in here, he's trying to take down the Squadron for reasons because they're terrible, but he's just kind of a less terrible. But Cody Ziegler writing, Paco Medina on art, Pete Pantiaz on colors. His team is Black Widow, Hawkeye. I'm giving you the Marvel Universe analogs, not what they're called here. U.S. agent who's Soviet agent, Fire Ant instead of Ant-Man, Silver Witch, Sabretooth. And basically they're just trying to topple the Squadron Supreme and set a trap for Nighthawk, which of course doesn't quite work in their favor. We get to see some of the characters in here, like this version of Namor. I can't even remember who else we see, but Angel. But Nighthawk and Blur are kind of the two squadron characters that we see in this book, and of course they kind of deal with the villains. Oh, we have Swordmaster as well. But fun little book. If you're a big time old school Avengers fan, I think this would appeal to you more than the newer stuff. It's kind of middle of the road for me. I can take it or leave it. It isn't a must read like the other tie-ins.
I'm not sure how I feel about the like somewhat implication that like Clint and Natasha are sort of like wherever the wind blows them, like they'll land on their feet, whether it be on this side of the line of good and evil or the other. Yeah, I mean, Natasha is a merc, and Hawkeye, I guess he is, but I don't know. I like, you know how I feel about him. I got a big old man crush on Clint, so I'm trying to stand up for my boy.
It's cool. The Peter Parker book and the Young Squadron, they're kind of also okay. I don't think they're must-buys like the others, like Magneto and the Mutant Force and Hyperion and Imperial Guard. I think those two stand out much more than the other three.
All right.
America Chavez, what?
Let's talk about Champions because we didn't put that in the regular coverage.
Yeah, and it's getting pretty late, so
yeah.
All right. So Kamala wants to.
Yeah, this is like let's just make this one quick with Danny Lore, Luciano Vecchio, Federico Blee. But I'm not into this book, man.
No, it's not really doing it for me right now either. It's not holding much water. Although it's funny because conceptually they're really on point with what they're talking about, as far as reflecting on the real world. But in the aftermath of Cradle and Roxxon, you know, going after the Champions hardcore and the Kamala, the la whatever happening, Kamala wants to keep the Champions kind of like focused on Roxxon, and they decide to go try to send some people undercover as social media interns.
Right. Yeah.
Very quite topical.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think you weren't there last month, but I was kind of saying like I see where they're going with it, and they're making like they're making some really strong social commentary in this book, and
right.
I can sort of appreciate that, but at the same time, like,
but they lost the plot with the characters,
right?
Like the feel is gone now. It's really gone, and if I had to get BB King to come sing it, I will. But like, it's too bad because the Champions were really had like a strong, call it what you will, the millennial like energy, whatever, going for them, and now they kind of feel like millennials. Like they're, you know, this issue is basically about Sam feeling butthurt that he didn't get hired to fake social media intern for the evil company that they're, you know what I mean? Like So emo, and then at the end he's like, yeah, see, told you I could do it, and you should have hired me. I'll give you Kamala Khan. Dun dun dun. They're literally on their phones. Like there's panels where the whole team is on their phones, like playing a game together, and they're just like somebody gave them like the mandate to go do like show us what kids are doing right now, and they kind of are, but it's just as kind of like a chillingly uh it's chilling. It's not good. It doesn't make you want to cheer for them anymore.
One thing I did notice is the Vision dog, right? And
Sparky.
yeah, Sparky, if we remember on Jim Zub's I guess it was abruptly kind of canceled basically, or just like he had to finish it early and didn't get to tie into it. I wonder if they're going to tap into that, where like maybe Sparky is compromised by Roxxon or something like that, which could make it interesting because it would at least force you to care. And like that is tied into the other stories that we know and love.
Well, I mean, I would care if a dog was going to be in trouble, like.
Right, but I mean, like, about this particular storyline.
No, I know, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I'm not a fan.
I mean, it could come back at any given time. You know what I mean? Like
right.
they could choose to right the ship, and it's definitely in the hands of the creators to fix it. Like the content's not so much off; it's literally the way it's being sort of given to us. So,
and this is issue 2 of this particular storyline with this creative team. So I'm willing to give them, like another like 2 or 3 more issues.
Yeah,
I agree. Even the art sometimes gets a little wonky for me, but yeah, it's not doing it for me. I don't know if it's an age thing, like I said last time, but
yeah.
But it's so weird because it didn't feel like before. It felt like, despite the fact it's about kids and they're very clearly kids, it's like where it brought out the best in them, and we wanted to cheer for them. It didn't feel like we couldn't access it, whereas now it's starting to feel what it feels like is people trying to depict kids doing what kids do, like a patronizing like TV commercial that has rappers in it talking about like breakfast cereal or something. That's how I kind of feel about the whole thing. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Hello?
Okay.
We're here.
You just was that just like really kind of heavy? You guys had to turn that over in your brains before you're supposed to.
I think we're winding down.
Yeah,
we're
just
burning
tired
out on it. Yeah. But
yeah, I didn't read any of the other books on our list except for America Chavez,
which we can touch on some other time. So this book, I'm gonna give it 2.5 failed apps.
Oh, boy, howdy. I'm gonna give it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2. Trust me, social media interns are supposed to get paid.
Yeah, I'll give it 2.5 compromised Sparkies? Question mark?
Compromised Spark?
Mephisto! It's Mephisto!
Listen, whatever you put on that cue card, Mephisto will read.
We won't delve into it, but America Chavez Made in the USA #3 is also good. So
thumbs up.
Yes, I recommend it.
Hooray!
All right. So, if you let us know what you guys thought of Heroes Reborn, you can email us, emp@earthsmightiestpodcast.com. We have a Facebook group. We also have a Discord. You can go and give us your input on that. Let's see. You can follow Corwin on the Twitters at EMPcast. And then we're also if you go on the Twitters, you can go to the hashtag #TheCollectiveNet, where there's us and a bunch of other comic related podcasts that are worth listening to.
On top of that, there's little old me at Bobby Mobetta. There's little old V at Comedian Viet. And we're on the tweeters. We tweeters. So,
yes. And I'm also on. I also stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/comedian Viet, where I usually stream our podcast, and you can actually kind of follow along while I just kind of scroll through the pages. You can kind of see what we're talking about. And we also, and then I also work on my custom toys on stream.
Which he is a, trust me, he's good at it. Well, boys, it's been one. You know, in a sea of adversity that I'm swimming through, this is my lifeline, and it's good to hear you guys' voices, and good to be heard, and always fun to shoot the roughage with y'all. So looking forward to doing it again.
Yep, we'll see what Heroes Reborn gives us. And special thanks to Tribe One for our theme song. Check out his site, tribe1.bandcamp.com.
I was gonna say it.
Well, you didn't. So we will see y'all next month. Bye-bye.
We'll see you in the next one.
And stopping streaming